All right. Good morning, everybody. It's Kristen Bernias, and I am so excited to be with you today. Just give me a second. I'm going to click some buttons and we're going to get started. Okay, so welcome. It is the end of Mental Health Awareness Month, and we are celebrating all the wins. So as you guys know, we have been focused on let me just make sure. Oh, we are live. We have been focused on mental health awareness this month, and we have covered all the different types of mental health, from adolescence to the golden years to teenagers to adults to caregivers. And so today we're going to conclude the month by celebrating, and I'm really excited to do this with you. So if you are on live, go ahead and say hello. If you're watching the replay, say hi too, and we would love to hear from you. So let's start off with a win from Rebecca Norman, and she is going to tell us a little bit about her story, her mental health journey, and from a unique perspective of being a caregiver. So I'll go ahead and let Rebecca tell her story herself. So just give me one second.
Hey everyone, I am so happy on here to share a little something with you about mental health. You know, so many of us have our struggles, you know, whether it be exhaustion or anxiety and depression or ADHD or addiction issues. But recently I was faced with a very new foreign struggle, and that was that of caregiving. My mother-in-law had cancer, and she was fighting the battle of her life. And this involved radiation every day, chemo, TPN feedings, which is IV nutrition, and all of this fell on me. So facing this, you want to do this with love and grace and compassion and empathy and understanding as much as you possibly can. But all the while you're facing exhaustion, sleep deprivation, stress, being completely overwhelmed, feeling like you are way out of your league, and you've got to fake it till you make it. So how do you do that? Well, for me, of course, prayer was is a huge part of my life, but I needed reinforcements. I needed nutrition. I needed support beyond what I would normally need. And that's where these formulas came in. For me to have the strength and mental capacity and physical strength to be able to do the things that I needed to do, it had to happen. And Soul helped me do that. It required discipline. You know, I had to have my herbs set out every day. I had to do a lot of preparation to make sure I had what I needed. But it got me through a season of my life that I never imagined I would ever even be in, let alone have the level of responsibility in that situation that I did. So whether you are facing anxiety or depression or ADHD struggles that you may have had your whole life, or if you're embarking on an entirely new challenge, these formulas offer the nutrition that your mind and body needs to get and maintain balance. You cannot go into a war without weapons. And when you're facing mental health struggles, you are in a war every day. And these are some of your weapons. So now the time has passed. She is no longer with us. And I am so grateful that I had what I needed to be able to get through that time, to pour all that love into her. And it's funny because even for her, through her journey, I used the oils with her, and it became something that she would request all the time. She'd ask me for her Becca spray, which was the Connect spray, but she loved it all the way to the end. I mean, as she was in the last few weeks, she would ask for the Becca spray. So, I mean, there's a lot of benefits that she actually had as well. She was able to be nurtured through the end of her life as much as I possibly could. But whether you're facing a short-term battle or a long-term battle, these formulas will give you the nutrition that you need to fight it.
All right. let me get out of here. Whew, that one is a bit of a tearjerker. So thank you, Rebecca, for sharing. And you know, it's something that we have to think about, that there's all different points of our life where mental health is going to and continue to be of utmost importance. So thank you, Rebecca, for sharing. So nope, we don't want to watch that again. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I wanted to take a brief moment here and just talk about one of the products that many of us think of when we think of mental health, and that is AdaptAble. And you've heard time and time again this month of different stories of how AdaptAble being part of someone's soul program has been a great asset to someone who is struggling with some of these mental health difficulties. So let's talk about AdaptAble real quick. So there are 5 key benefits, as you see on the screen. One is that it helps you with stress, and stress can come in many different forms: emotional, physical, mental, you know, whatever form of stress that looks like. AdaptAble does also help with depression. The adaptogens plus St. John's wort help the body to combat depression, and depression comes in many forms, as you'll hear in one of our upcoming testimonies. It does, of course, being in a mix of adaptogenic herbs, of course, it does help with your immunity, and of course, it also helps with your mood. And so the reason I wanted to point that out is not only because this is a great part of, you know, a soul program, if this is something that you struggle with, but also because for the next couple days, if you decide to purchase the 180 count of AdaptAble, which is what I would recommend, because then you never run out of these, I would call them magic pills, you get a free travel capsule. So put that code in when you purchase the 180 count bottle of AdaptAble, and reach out to whoever invited you to this group or this YouTube channel, and they'll hook you up and help you out. So wanted to point that out. All right, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about how I can make the most of my soul program. And we're going to focus specifically of how I can make the most of my soul program, especially in light of mental health awareness, because we are closing out Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I didn't properly introduce myself at the beginning. My name is Kristen Brunias. I have been a part of Solle Naturals for almost 6 years, and it has been a blessing in so many different ways. And yes, the major reason that I came to Solle Naturals was for struggles in the mental health area, and I came out of that time with so much more. And so that's some of what we're going to talk about today. And that has to do with Herring's Law of Cure. And so, first of all, if you are currently a soul member, or you're a brand specialist, or you're thinking about soul, let's take a minute and just acknowledge the fact that you've made an investment in your health, or you're thinking about making an investment in your health. And we are so proud of you. We know that, you know, asking for help or doing research, or even being willing to approach from a little bit of a holistic perspective can be a little bit different. And you can sometimes feel like you're navigating a bit in the dark. And we get that and we acknowledge that. And we really want to set you up for success. And so that's what we're talking about with these few points, is how can we set you up for success? How can we make sure that you're going to be celebrating those wins soon? So let's first talk about Herring's Law of Cure and how the body heals. And so, as it says here, the body heals from the head downwards, from within outwards, from a most important organ to a less important one, in the reverse order of their coming. So that's a bunch of words, and it takes you a minute to kind of get a grasp on this. But what I take from it is that oftentimes we're looking for instant results. I came to Solle Naturals looking for X, Y, and Z, and we're right away focused on that particular issue that we came to Soul looking for, you know, relief from. But that isn't necessarily the order that the body is going to heal in parentheses, because the body doesn't make mistakes and it has its own way of healing, and it's going to go in these 4 different directions. And so I try to remind people that, for example, I shared with you that one of my main issues that I came to Soul with was I struggled with a lot of anxious feelings and anxious thoughts. That wasn't the first improvement that I saw. I started to see improvements in digestion and clarity of thinking and energy and sleep. And I started to have these quote unquote side effects along the way as my body was working its way to the ultimate thing that I came to Soul Naturals for. So just keep that in mind as you, embark on this journey, that the body doesn't make any mistakes, and there is a method to the way that we get to results. Okay, along that line, there are things that you want to consider. So, hydration. So, you might want to ask yourself, what kind of water drinker am I? Because we all know water is important, but really, do we know how much water we're actually drinking? Because I am one that really struggles in this area. I think I'm drinking a lot of water, but oftentimes if I really stop to think about it, when was the last time I had a glass of pure water without something in it? So, challenge yourself to measure how much water you're drinking. It should be half your body weight in ounces is really how much you should be drinking a day, if not more. It's going to be 90 some degrees here and humid today. So keep that in consideration. You might need to drink a little bit more on those hot, humid days. I love the analogy that Valerie has shared when she's talked about this topic in the past, because the point of water is not only that the herbs need water to work and to help them do their job. So as you're taking the Soul products, the body needs that water for the herbs to do its job, but it's also that the body needs the water to get the junk out of your body, to do for the cells to clean, and for your digestive system to work, for your skin to look healthy, for everything to work. You need water. And so a lot of times we think, oh, well, I've got my Vital and it has water in it, so I'm covered. Or I've got my lemonade and it has water in it, so I'm covered. And I love the analogy that Valerie has used in the past, where she said, what would be better to mop your floor with? Go ahead and take your lemonade or your iced tea and put it in a bucket and go ahead and mop your floor. How clean is your floor going to feel at the end of that? Or take your water, put it in a bucket, and wash your floor with that water. And your body's the same way. You need that pure, unvitaled or unrenewed or without lemonade water to let your body do its ultimate healing and cleansing and detoxing. So when you're thinking about how to make the most of your Soul program, make sure that you're drinking water. Number 2, of course, we need to talk about sleep. I mean, the whole point of sleep is to give your body a chance to rest, recalibrate, and to detox. And so there is a way that your body does some detoxing and healing throughout the night. And if you're not sleeping properly, your body's not getting the opportunity to reset overnight, and so that you can work at your best the next day. And coming from a mental health perspective, there have been times in my mental health journey that I have struggled with some insomnia, and it was just sort of a side effect of some of the stuff that I was struggling with. And I know for me, when I was struggling with that insomnia, I was not at my best. I wasn't able to think clearly. I wasn't able to think rationally, because when your body is tired and your mind is tired, your mental health is not at its best either. So from a mental health perspective, sleep is super important. Schedule it like you would schedule a meeting is what I do. I make sure I am in bed, lights out by 10 p.m. every night. Now, granted, I do have 3 children, so sometimes that isn't perfect, but I schedule it like I would schedule a meeting. All right, number 3, let's talk a little bit about diet and digestion. This is the world's biggest sub point. We could do, series of calls just on this one topic, but I will say that I'm not a fan of any one way of eating other than to say that the better the food choices you make, the better you feel, both mentally and physically. And so certain things work for certain people, and that's great. But in general, a strawberry that has the ingredient of a strawberry versus something that comes out of a box with 45 different ingredients, that strawberry is always going to be better for you because it is the actual food. And so better food choices help your whole body and mind work better. And I know for me, coming from a mental health perspective, I know that I feel better when I don't have too much sugar. The two things that affect me and my mental health in terms of food are sugar and caffeine. And so just kind of keep that in mind. For me, caffeine tends to kind of make my heart race. I sort of feel like I just kind of feel jittery and fidgety, and sugar sort of does the same sort of thing. And so when we're thinking of mental health, let's talk about diet and digestion and make sure that we're giving our body what it needs, and so that it can not only perform, but it can also properly digest the food that we're putting in. And then last but not least, let's talk about stress. So we can't avoid stress. And I mean, like I said earlier, stress comes in all different shapes and forms. And this is something at Solle Naturals we're going to be focusing on a lot. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you guys saw our new water bottles, and our new branding talks about less stress, more adaptogens. So stress is going to be a topic that you guys are going to be hearing a lot about in the upcoming years and our months and years. But what I can say is that you can never get rid of all forms of stress. Like, stress is an inevitable part of life. However, you can change the way that you react to stress. And that's one thing that adaptogens help you to do, is they help you to change your reaction so that, possibly as you get on your soul program and you start to kind of balance your mood out and balance maybe some of those angry reactions you used to be, you might have the same frustration that your kids leave their shoes in the hallway all the time, but maybe instead of snapping at them, you can have a little bit more of a calm reaction. The shoes didn't move. The shoes are still there. The kids are teenagers and they're still leaving their shoes in the same spot, but you're possibly changing your reaction to it. Instead of screaming at them, maybe you're coming up with some sort of resolution. So that's what I mean. Stress is always going to be there, but we can change our reaction, and adaptogens help us to do that. So, all right. We are excited for you that you made an investment. If you haven't made an investment yet, we're here for you, and we want to help you be as successful as possible. So, talking about being a mother, we're going to hear from Ashley Geigel, who is going to talk about life with 4 kids and how she has stepped into motherhood.
Hello, my name is Ashley and I'm from South Dakota, and I am a mom of 4 kiddos that are 2 years apart in age difference. And when my youngest was a newborn, I went through a moment that I can now identify as like a little bit of postpartum. I felt like I was like in this outer body experience, watching myself be miserable, going through the actions daily and not really enjoying and really knowing what life was all about with 4 kids. And I had a lot of moments where I just really couldn't focus or function. Like, the brain fog was just really strong, and I wasn't clear in my thinking and in my speaking. And I just had a lot of moments where I didn't really enjoy who I was. And when I was introduced to the Soul products, my program allowed me to not only like just naturally feel better, but also gave me the confidence to dig a little deeper and work a little bit more on my personal development, I guess you could say. Learning, the different ways that my body shifted from like this teenage young adult person to now being a mom of 4, and what that really does to your body and your mind, right? Like that's a lot of change in just 8 short years, 7 short years actually. So I have never been so grateful that I had found these products that had allowed me to be able to think more clear, feel more confident about myself, and really just allow me to step into the person that I was becoming and becoming, however you want to say that. So, never been so grateful for these soul products, and I just encourage everybody where they're in this struggle spot is to just step into it and really embrace all that soul has to offer. So, thank you. Have a good evening.
All right. Love her and her South Dakota self. She is awesome. And she's right. It is a lot of changes, to go from really being kind of like a teenager to being married, and in her case to having 4 children. So thank you, Ashley, for sharing. And it's been awesome seeing you step into yourself. So let's hear from another amazing mama, Amy Klump. She sent us this great testimony. It says, when I started my natural health journey, I was desperate for health. Sometimes you need to be desperate to make a change. I'd been taking care of others for so long that I neglected taking care of myself. I know God led me to natural health with purpose. Over the last 7 years, I have found freedom from my struggle with anxiety. My soul program was a very important tool on my journey, as was this holistic community. The adaptogens help support my mood, my mind, while nourishing my body, and the people didn't let me stay stuck where I was. That's the power of community, guys. They encouraged me to stay the course, reminded me that I wasn't created to suffer alone, and gently reminded me of these things on days when I wanted to throw in the towel during my healing journey. There isn't a day I don't thank God for this community, for this company, this holistic community, and the soul product line. And I couldn't have said it any better. Thanks, Amy, for sharing. What a powerful testimony. So speaking of sharing, we're always looking for more testimonies and more powerful stories, just like these ladies. You never know how your story could impact another person, how maybe just sharing a little bit about your mental health, or, something that you've struggled with in terms of digestion or pain or whatever it is, might impact someone else. So please don't hesitate to share your stories. Feel free to post it in the group, reach out to anybody on this call or whatever, and we'd love to hear from you. So thank you. That is it for today. If you are listening on YouTube, be sure to join Stories of Hope on Facebook. And if you'd like a 15-minute reminder of these meetings, just text the word HOPE to 1-866-256-1970. And we look forward to hearing from you. All right, guys, have a great day. Okay, bye.